Oh, I'm giddy this morning. I'm giddy and talkative. I'm going to talk about the shit show that's happening in the US. I'm going to answer this question over here. Should you lock in or not? And I'm going to show you what the Bank of Canada is doing to help with inflation. Let's start with the shit show that is the United States. Have you guys been following this story? So here's the deal. Republican Governor Greg Abbott of Texas wants to redraw the map of Texas to add 5 Republican seats. Why? Because Trump's approval ratings are falling to the floor and there's midterm elections coming. So if they can rig the election, that'd be fantastic. That's what they're doing. Now, if they redraw the district map, there has to be a certain amount of representatives in the meeting or else it's not a valid meeting. So Democrats have left for Illinois. But it doesn't stop there. Greg Abbott says that he wants to expel the Democrats from the Texas State House and potentially extradite them, saying they may be felons. So the corrupt governor of Texas wants to corrupt the next election. And he's calling the Democrats felons because they're trying to stop him from corrupting the next election. Like, just imagine if that was happening here. Like, instead of districts, we have ridings. Imagine if one of the premiers decided to redo the ridings and change the makeup of the House of Commons. Can you imagine? Yeah, I know. Some of you can imagine it because you're fascist traitors. Anyway, don't sleep on this because this is going to affect your mortgage rates. How? How is that going to affect your mortgage? Well, up until now, there's been this idea that the United States is bulletproof, right? Kevlar economy. But no. Yeah, that jobs report shows that they are not at all bulletproof. So faith in the economy is falling with bond yields. Remember, the bond yields work inverted, right? So if people are buying bonds, the bond yields fall. If people are selling bonds, the bond yields increase. Usually, people are selling bonds because they need the money. And they buy bonds because they want to take advantage of the opportunity. The opportunity being that bond yields are up here at 4.4%. So they're buying the bonds now because they're expecting rate cuts to happen. Wouldn't it be great if that was happening here in Canada too? It is. Look at that. Why? Because the US is going to cut rates, and if the US cut rates, we're going to cut rates. And so people are buying bonds now. Now back here on June 17th, I said you should lock in because things are going sideways. And things did go sideways. June 17th is back here somewhere. As you can see, the bond yields went up, so the fixed mortgage rates went up. All the mortgage brokers were talking about that. And now they're falling. Did you make a mistake by locking in now? Is something fantastic happening on the horizon? No. Back on June 17th, and I've been saying this for a while now, if you can get like under 4% on a fixed rate, you're doing fantastic. Should you hold out for something like less than 3.5%? No. If we get that low, it's because things are really, really, really bad. And then you'll be more worried about actually paying your mortgage than the interest you're paying on your mortgage. But yeah, so much for all the people who saying the bond yields were not going to fall and that rates were going to stay high and that we were never going to cut again. Yeah, looks like they were wrong. Speaking of being wrong, let's take a look at our monthly official reserves, shall we? Like, our dollar is falling, which makes sense because oil is falling. But really, should it be falling that much? Like, shouldn't we be up above 73, like closer to 74, given that the US dollar is falling? Like, what gives? Well, when we look at our reserves, we have increased our holdings of US dollars. We're buying US dollars, which drives down the value of the Canadian dollar. This is the latest release. This is for July. Like, I had to double check this. Okay, this is the June balance. And that's the May balance. 65,534,000,000. It's exactly the same for May and June. So as the US dollar fell, the Canadian dollar increased. Oh, but we can't have that. So the Bank of Canada, who controls this, decided to buy a whole bunch of US dollars and drop the value of the Canadian dollar. Oh yeah, they did. Bank of Canada's management of foreign currency reserves. So for those people who like to say the Bank of Canada's only concern is inflation, why are they creating inflation? They're worried about core, they're worried about super core, super trim, and this and that, and so on and so forth. But they're making it worse by making the dollar less valuable. Oh, but this helps with exports. Yeah, but we're losing jobs. Rate cuts will be way better. We shouldn't be increasing this. We should just be cutting rates. Or we do nothing. We do nothing. We let the Canadian dollar increase in value, and that by itself controls inflation because a more valuable dollar can go further. Soon it won't matter because the Fed is going to cut rates. And when the Fed cuts rates, the Bank of Canada will cut rates as well.